There's a lot of concrete in downtown. Road diets. Talked to them in the past. Talked about them in the past. Mention them again. Look at all this concrete. This is basically a farmer's market disguised as a park. It's a fairly large park as far as neighborhood parks go, but lots of concrete. The city has plans for tearing everything out of there and just redoing it. What those plans mean, I don't know. And it's like they've been closing down the street lately for farmers market. There's really nothing goes on at that park but farmers market. But what has me intrigued is at zero cost to taxpayers, because we already bought it. That's done. That's gone. Now it's a legacy cost. We bought that hotel across the street in Sheboygan, I should say. It's probably about 30 rooms, mostly parking lot, small little restaurant. The bottom line is the citizens don't need a restaurant, but we do have all this concrete. And what we don't have is a municipal pool. And everybody wants that forever. Forever, that has been on the want list. We don't have that. And we don't have an adult park. When I say an adult park, I mean a park where adults can go and have fun, like they did when we were kids, like I do now, except it's frowned upon because I don't have children with me. Big deal. You don't have to have a kid to have fun. Your kids have quite literally every park. And they got this children's museum here too. My new park hooks up right to the children's museum. And I'm guessing it would triple the size of Fountain Park, which Fountain Park, oh my God, baby, that used to be the heart and soul of Sheboygan when we used to have springs here, like a hot spring city or whatever. I don't know what the hell they were really, but basically we had these springs and people would come here from all over, which back in the day probably meant Chicago, Milwaukee, whatever, and they would come here. It's like nobody downtown except homeless, ever. It's just the way it is. And it's like, that's a whole new thing. I mean, that's a whole part of tourism. You bring a lot of change dynamics, but look at all this concrete. And you don't need all these parking spots. Why? There's virtually no commerce down here. There truly isn't. I mean, sure, you have show nights. You have people coming for these businesses the scant hours they're open. But you got that lot right there, right? You blast that thing up between there and across the street. We also own the bank over there. You blast that lot up about, I don't know, 3 levels, 4 levels, and what do you have? You have, when done properly, because you don't need all that little landscaping crap, you basically would have enough parking spots here to make it so that you really didn't even need this. You could keep it if you want, but you could even grassify a lot of this. But bottom line is, if you're going to make a parking ramp, build it up, get it out of the way, make it into something beautiful, make it multi-use, so it's like, so ground floor could be retail, shops, whatever. And then you could replace all this concrete, all this blacktop, all this can be replaced with, not grass per se, we have plenty of grass, but we could put in pickleball courts, basketball courts, municipal pools, just places, just little nooks that people could hide away, beautiful gardens, trees, sheltered off little areas that people can go and get lost in the city. We are in a city of gravel and blacktop. There's nothing else really here right now but me. But me. What a waste of a city that is. Look at all that parking lot. You ever seen so much concrete and stuff? People live in here. Never really see them come and go, and that's part of the nature of what it is. But you got some housing, you got some churches, but what you want to connect up, you got the arts center and those gardens. That is fantastic, man. It's just a great hangout. And not too far down the road, you're right to the riverfront. Not too far down the road, you're right to the lakefront. But where I am, I'm seeing mostly parking lot. Even these, that's parking lot. Parking. You could put this on a road diet. The road can be the same width, and yet this roadway is less than half of the width of what it would have been. Parking lot. I'm not against parking ramps, but if you're going to do parking ramps, what you got to do is utilize the area around it. It does no good to look at the world as pieces, parts. The world is a system. It's the world. In fact, I'm going to call it the world. And when you do a part, look at what you have around you and imagine what it can become. Piecemealing never ever works. But this is open up right here. Why I would be against this being the parking lot, as much as that's what's going to be the parking, that should be the parking ramp. I think it might be the plan according to what he's saying. But this right here would be best off being part of that whole park structure. Really do it up big time. I mean, make it like over at City Green. Even reimagine that. That's just a little concert venue. It's not a true park. It's a horrible park. That's the case. It's there for one night. But if you look at this, these people's lives would change if this was actually just a continuum right to the Arts Center. A continuum of the aesthetic the Arts Center has, which if you haven't been over there, just hanging and banging outside, it's one of the best places on earth. It's what it is. I mean, you're in Sheboygan, you have all this space, and everybody is all worried. It's like, oh, we need more parking. Yeah, we do at minor times. But we really need here is a place where people can exist and have fun and relax. This is a huge hunk of property, and I can't think of a better use for it than being just like a bookworm's garden-y kind of thing right off of the Arts Center. And sure, you have some like trail through it or connectivity, but as natural as possible, and just beautify the fuck out of it. It's really, the whole thing is, when you get here, what is there to do? You shouldn't have pockets of doability. That's failure. You don't want pockets. What you want is a city where people can just flow northeast, southwest, and every minute of that flow, every day, is just beautiful. Then you don't have to tell people, come to Sheboygan. You don't have to say, do this. You don't have to do much of anything other than watch people come to Sheboygan. And right here you'll see the art center, and it's like nice, really functional benches that can be flipped into tables. It'd be great for little workstations. And it's like, I hardly ever see them used, as in never, other than for events. You have this. I dig the idea of being right up against the park, but it's not truly a park. It's an open piece of land where mostly homeless hang, and in other times the art center uses it, and there's a concert series here. Even right in the middle of the park is a trap door for electronics. All the outlets are closed and stuff. There's no bathrooms. There's an outhouse there right now. As soon as the concert series is over, they're pretty much gone. There's one left there. But it's like, basically, I have no problem with those apartments being built right against there, but make it into a park. And if you're building parking ramps, once again, turn that into park or shops, whatever. And when I'm saying park, your park can literally have shops in it. There's nothing wrong with putting a real beautiful little coffee shop right in the park. I mean, look at this. You have this type of aesthetic going right through the city. My God. I mean, it'd be like downtown Chicago. But guess what it would be that downtown Chicago can't be? Us. And it's like, it would have that small town vibe, really accessible and easy. We have a world-class art museum right here. I mean, we have cool stuff. And it's kind of like, it's mostly things that people don't use or think they can use. I like hanging here. I pointed it out to some people from out of town, and kind of like, if you really want to chill, come here. It's a great place. And it's like, I mean, not come here to Sheboygan. Come here to the art center and just chill. I mean, what a perfect place to be having your morning nothing. I don't believe in the whole coffee thing. And it's kind of like, whatever. I digress. This is what I do. But look at this little cove here. How beautiful, huh? And as long as you're being cool and appreciative, and it's like, I would love to just hang here and have discussion groups with people, classes, lifelong learning, which all learning should be. I don't believe learning is just for the kids. I think we're going to own that building there too. It's the old AT&T building. And I got a feeling it's like overbuilt coolness. And it's probably laid out extremely odd and open, but I wouldn't know. And it's like, you're right here. You're very close to the lake. You got the courthouse and stuff. You have nice apartments here, but more parking. And what do you need? What would we say we need for downtown Sheboygan? Are you talking 1,000 spots? And when I'm saying you have if you're a couple blocks away, if our issue is the last mile, which I understand for handicap reasons, that you would have, if you coordinated most of the parking to have it a little more centralized, what you do then is you put in like an ultralight tram system. We could do that. And you'd make it like Disney Epcot kind of thing, where you'd have people loading in, and you would have very open concept. And you got to remember, self-driving stuff like that is coming very fast. And if you containerized the area, made it so it was closed loops and you didn't have cars coming through, you could get some company to come in, like Waymo or such, where they would want to show concepts. You have the riverfront right on the other side of those buildings over there. But all this area here, that's unused. That old AT&T building, completely unused. But look at the sheer amounts of concrete everywhere around this downtown. It is just amazing how non-functional it is per square foot. And you have to look at it as the system. What can you possibly do? You could even put, if you had that as a parking ramp, you could have this as a parking ramp too, if that's what you want to do. I mean, but also, it doesn't even have to take up that whole footprint. You get rid of the, what I would call beautification parts of it, and make it more condensed and practical, rise it up several levels, and you have an insane amount of parking. I'll figure it out. It's what I do. And it's kind of like, I like it. I mean, that's a beautiful thing to have that apartment building right across, right incorporated into the park. But make it a real park. Don't make it a fishbowl. I mean, this is obviously, the city must have its eyes on. It's going to become something. And it's like, but it's just a storage tank. My guess is that building's mostly empty. Mostly empty. I mean, this is nice and functional. When you get in here, we have some cool places. And from what I'm guessing is probably like right where I am, I got a feeling we're going to have a nice little athletic center here of a different kind of way. And by that, I'll show you. I'm not exactly sure what this is becoming, but I think it's opening up into next door. And I'll give you a little hint as to what it's going to be. It's going to be basically like a cycling place. You got a yoga place. Game Board's a very strong store. Sheboygan gets very strong when you go down in this direction. The downtown is very vibrant. Very vibrant. And I'm not saying it's horrible on the other end. It's pretty damn good. Our downtown is a lot stronger than people think. But what's missing is connectivity, walkability, and most of all, livability. There's not really livability here. It's that close. But look at all this concrete. It's an insane concrete jungle. It's nothing but open space. And you gotta think about it this way. All these, over half of this roadway, everything I'm going through, even the sidewalks, how it's done, that's all there because of parking. I mean, you don't need sidewalk on both sides if you got rid of that parking slot, rolled it in, made this, I'm not saying turn it all into parkland, but you pretty much could. I mean, A Street isn't functional at all for driving down other than looking. You have a stop sign every block. Every block. And it's kind of like, what the fuck? I mean, concrete, 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 concrete. Those panels used to be the clock tower. They saved the panels, put them up. I think it's beautiful. I think this is an absolutely world-class intersection. But what is it primarily? Concrete. Concrete, 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 concrete. Everywhere. Everywhere. I love the water feature. Oh, love it. And it's like, but what am I surrounded by? Concrete, 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 concrete. Concrete. Oh my God. Is that more concrete? Is it usable concrete? And it's very zen down here, but it gets very loud when that water's rushing. And I don't have a problem with it. It's beautiful. But there's not a place here that I would say you could just lay down and be comfortable. You put that foam stuff, like at the Children's Museum down there, and you would have an area there that would be world class for having yoga, tai chi, just little stretching classes and whatever. This stuff, there's no way you're doing anything here except trying to recreate the steps of Odessa scene from Sergei Potemkin's classic movie. Sergei Eistat's classic movie, Potemkin. Sorry, I misspeak. But I do that a lot because I talk a lot. And it's like, but concrete. A little bit of plant stuff. Ooh, nature. Oh, and one of my fave things, and not at all fave things. I'm being, what do they call that, facetious? Quite literally. Oh, more concrete? Yeah, living room. This is brought to you by what? Activate Sheboygan presents the Living Room Project. Recognizing downtown Sheboygan is more than a place to pass through, it's a place to stay, a place to spend time. Collaborates with artist Timon Tupper. Possible through the generosity of Quash's Construction, City Sheboygan, Drexel Building Supply, Sheboygan's Paint, and the Home Depot. And what does it add? The most comfortable living space on earth made out of concrete, which is basically useless. And oh, it's not all concrete. We got paver blocks too. Yeah, to break up the concrete. But literally, most of this, the Sheboygan Theater, that's going to be being redone. Whatever this was, the Adventure On, they moved out long ago. They were hardly ever open. Most things down here are hardly ever open. And if we wander out and back, what am I going to find? My God, what am I going to find behind this beautiful fountain area here that I find that I can look, learn, and laugh? These signs are ridiculous. They're ugly and in the way. Take time to pay attention to your child. Try this. Stand in circles looking at each other. Make each other smile or laugh. Hold hands. Give your child a hug, a smile, or a pat on the back. Watch, listen, and learn. See what your child looks like. But hey, might as well figure out what he looks like too. Talks about and does. Trail tip. Paying attention to children helps them feel special and safe. Brought to you by a whole bunch of places. And it's like one of those, it's like, seriously? I mean, clean this thing out on a weekly basis. Have somebody go through there, clean it out. Clean all that trash out of there and maintain, man. This thing is pretty darn sturdy. It ain't going anywhere soon, but it's very, very underutilized. It used to be a very cool place to hang out. They used to encourage waiting, and that's long since gone. But they even put in speakers down here to discourage kids from hanging out here, and so they were piping jazz music. And I was told this by the city while they're doing it. And it's kind of like, I'm like, what the fuck? It's like your whole idea is to try to have your kids, your adults, and whatever comes in between, after or before kids and adults, they should feel free going everywhere. Everywhere. This is a very, very cool little spot. You're going to lose it. It's starting to crack up. I mean, that can be fixed. It's all called maintenance. Maintenance. But every time you put like those little holes in that, you're kind of drilling to death. I mean, I haven't seen wear inside those holes, but I mean, it's always got to be an issue. But either you want it or you don't. And the city lets everything become a maintenance issue. And it's like, well, maintain it, man. Then it'll last forever. We're tearing down buildings that were built in the 60s, calling them old and useless. This is pretty cool, and I think it could be softened around the edges, but seal it up mostly. Seal it up. Lord knows you don't want to be hanging out. No loitering. It's like, what? That's all that should be doing down here is loitering. It's all that should be doing done. That's the perfect place for people to hang and wait. It has no function to the library other than a vestibule to keep people warm when they're in transition. Bus should be coming right there. This lot, once again, could be turned into whatever you want it to be. Part of the park-like tapestry of Sheboygan. And with that,